So this is the breaking news that everybody has been waiting months for. The drama is over. The hold-in is over. It looked as though yesterday we were approaching a holdout for Brandon Aiyuk. We don't have to worry about that any longer. The San Francisco 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk have agreed to terms on a massive contract extension. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I appreciate you coming here for your Niners updates, and make sure you subscribe to the channel because this is the standard for Niners talk right here on YouTube. So many great content creators out there covering this team. I do believe that we give you something special as far as our coverage being informative, insightful, entertaining, thought-provoking, and when breaking news happens, regardless of where I am, we have you covered. We are about to go live on the Niners Report, so I hope you subscribe and you join us. Adam Schefter breaking the news just moments ago, dropping a bombshell on X by saying this: there will be no trade. The 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk reached agreement today on a 4-year contract extension that will contractually tie the wide receiver to San Francisco for the next 5 years. So this is a 4-year extension on top of the 5th-year option that Aiyuk was set to play under at $14.1 million, Adam Schefter saying per ESPN sources. And as we all know, this has been a long and windy road. It has been contentious. It seemed as though the relationship between Aiyuk and the Niners at points was strained. There has been a lot of drama. Seemingly, there are new updates and new stories every single day. All of that can now be in the rear view. San Francisco gets this deal done with 11 days to go until their season opener against the New York Jets. What number does Brandon Aiyuk wear? Number 11. And now they can set their sights on trying to win a Super Bowl with arguably the most talented roster in the National Football League. As for the contract details here, listen closely because this is a massive deal for Aiyuk and a massive commitment by the San Francisco 49ers. And this comes after last year when the Niners gave Nick Bosa the most money for a non-quarterback in the history of the National Football League at $34 million per year. And now the Niners are giving Brandon Aiyuk, their number 1 wide receiver, a second-team All-Pro from last year, $30 million in average annual value. So the contract details here, 4-year contract on top of the 5th-year option. That's what Adam Schefter is reporting. $120 million in total, $76 million in guaranteed money. That's coming from Mike Garafolo and Ian Rapoport. I said back in March when a lot of this chatter started, during this entire process, the Niners have wanted Brandon Aiyuk. And I reported back in March from the NFL Scouting Combine that John Lynch and Aiyuk's agent Ryan Williams are very close friends. Ryan Williams attended John Lynch's Hall of Fame induction. John Lynch gave Ryan Williams his first major client as an agent in the National Football League, and the Niners have always wanted to get a deal done with Brandon Aiyuk. They drafted him with the 25th overall pick out of Arizona State back in 2020. That was the COVID year, and there were no preseason games, limited training camp practices. The Niners were coming off the Super Bowl. They dealt with so many injuries that year, yet Brandon Aiyuk, still as a rookie, led the team in receiving. And you saw some of the glimpses of him becoming a really good player. And you saw how pumped up Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch were when they got their guy in Brandon Aiyuk. They clearly believed in the player. But this is now a victory here on August 29th of 2024, partially because, of course, the player that Aiyuk has become, but everything that the Niners have invested into his development and the player himself in Brandon Aiyuk, and some of the things that they've had to deal along the way. There were some choppy waters during Aiyuk's rookie year. He got hurt, and the Niners weren't really always happy with him. Year 2, he started the year in the doghouse, and then he really started to take his craft seriously. He started to embrace being a blocker. We start to see the talent that he has as a route runner, and the footwork is absolutely beautiful. And after he comes out of the doghouse, which he was in, and Kyle Shanahan and Brandon Aiyuk have acknowledged that in training camp and in the preseason. The Niners get off to that 3-5 start. The sky is falling, but part of the turnaround that year was Aiyuk's emergence as a player. The Niners make it to the NFC Championship game, and at that time I had said, I love the way that Brandon Aiyuk plays. Toughness, swagger, consistency, willing blocker, everything to his route tree, deep threat. He can really do it all. I'd rather have him than CeeDee Lamb. And then what does he do in 2022? His first year where he surpasses 1,000 yards and he really starts to make headway and make progress as one of the top wide receivers in the game. And then in year 4, he continued his ascent. This is a player who has gotten better statistically every year that he's been in the National Football League. And last year, he was a top 10 guy. He was a second-team All-Pro. He can beat man coverage. He can beat zone coverage. We finally saw what Kyle Shanahan's offense can look like with the legitimate deep threat. He can run crossers. He can run shallows. He can run corner posts, in-breaking routes. He really has everything as part of his arsenal, and he has earned this contract. Now, the 49ers, I don't think necessarily played their cards right. They could have had Aiyuk earlier this offseason, probably at about $25, $26 million. Aiyuk even acknowledged that San Francisco could have had him at a cheaper price tag, but then the wide receiver market exploded on numerous occasions, and the market increased, especially after Justin Jefferson signed for $35 million per year. So the Niners, give them credit for this massive investment, getting this deal done with 11 days to go until the start of the regular season, because you are not a Super Bowl contender without Aiyuk and without Trent Williams in my estimation. He is a very special player. But while you give the Niners credit for investing in the player here, they did cost themselves a lot of money by electing to wait. And that's kind of their strategy all the time, is waiting to sign their homegrown players. But now this is 5 consecutive off seasons in which the Niners have paid and taken care of their homegrown players. It started with George Kittle in 2020, Fred Warner in 2021, Deebo Samuel in 2022, Nick Bosa in 2023, and here, Brandon Aiyuk in 2024. And if you believe that Brock Purdy is your franchise quarterback, you lock up a player of this pedigree, of this ability, of this talent level, because during the preseason, I don't think this Niners offense looked the same. And I really think that the best is still yet to come for Brandon Aiyuk. I think he's only scratching the surface of the player that he can become. And this is a player that you invested in, that you continue to invest in, who has respect from his coaches, from his teammates, and he stands for all of the right things. Now, I know things got dramatic during this entire offseason, and it was very hectic, and it got annoying. It was tiresome to have to talk about this on a near daily basis, and I appreciate everybody's patience and you watching the show, and I don't agree with all of the social media antics, but contract negotiations, whether it be corporate America, here at Chat Sports, your job, or the National Football League, can get a little bit contentious, especially when millions of dollars are on the line. And I'm glad that both sides here are going to be able to continue their partnership. And when you look at the highest paid wide receivers in the National Football League now, Justin Jefferson's getting $35 million, CeeDee Lamb at $34. He signed earlier this week. A.J. Brown at $32. Amon-Ra St. Brown at a tick over $30 million per season. Tyreek Hill at $30. Brandon Aiyuk at $30, followed by Jalen Waddle at $28.25 and Devontae Adams at $28. Now, I had reported all along the Niners want Aiyuk back. They get their guy. I thought it was going to be somewhere in that $28 million per year threshold. They go up to $30 because that's what the market dictated. So, Niners, Brandon Aiyuk, coming to terms and agreeing on a massive contract extension, and the drama is finally over. I'm going to go live here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us over there. Really appreciate everybody's support. And finally, we can look ahead with Aiyuk as part of this offense. We know what this offense is going to consist of as it's starting to take shape. And next up, Trent Williams. Get that deal done.